Hey guys, welcome to Indie Game Hustle. My name is Charles, and in this video, we're going to continue playing with our player lives, but this time we're going to go into the other scene and actually have that information show up there. In our last video, we set up the players' lives basically working, and we had it show up in our player HUD, and everything was reducing properly, and I thought it looked pretty good. And as you can see here, our scene basically is reducing, and of course, once we die, our player will have that number reduce from 3 to 2. And just to recap, I'll just make sure everything is still working. Cool, so players died, 3 is still there, and then once it switches to scene, and this is the scene we're going to be working in now, and then it's going to go back to the here, and then we're at 2. So that's great. And so we want to continue with that. All right. So the first thing I'll do in this video is go ahead and name this because I didn't name it before. So I'll just go ahead and name this Player Lives. Player Lives. Okay, great. And I can, for now, I'll just leave this here. Like, I guess I could just call this number. And then what I'll do is go to trigger, and this is just the on start trigger. And this is what I was talking about before, I think, if you remember for the last videos, where on start, when the scene starts, the action gets that variable. So what we could do is basically have it change we can have it when the scene starts, but we can also have it do it to where when the number changes, we can have it change. So we'll play with that later. I don't think that's something I want to look into right this second, but I think that will just depend on, what feels right? So we can just always address that a little later. All right, great. So what I'll do is go ahead and hit save, make sure everything is saved. And let's see here. So the next thing we want to do is go to the other scene. Now, I'm going to head over to Project RoboBoy. We're going to go to World. We're going to go to Menu, and we have something called Player Lives UI. So what I'm going to do is head over to that scene. All right, so now we're in this scene. And so this is the scene where basically the player dies, and then we kind of go here briefly for a moment. And the question is, what do we want to do in this scene? What's the point? The point is just to have a fun way to display maybe your player's icon, like a face, and then like some type of like equals or minus or something, and then the number changing to the players' lives. So what we'll do, and here just a second. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to look at my variable, and I saw that this was checked off. So let me just go ahead and make sure that your player's live is listed as saved. All right, cool. All right, so what I'm going to do here is inside of my canvas, I want to go ahead and put some things in here. First things first, I think I want to change the color of this background to something else. Like, I don't know, just something temporarily like this. We can maybe just go like blue, right? Something like that. And then what I'll do is inside this panel, I'm going to have a few UI things. So maybe I'll do another panel, and I will take this and use this as one thing. So this will be an image. We can use this as an image, or we can do it another way, right? We can delete this panel, and I could go panel UI image. That's another way to go about it. So I could just be like image, and we can just do an image just like that. I'll just put it right here in the center. And then on the other side, what I could do is go to panel, right click, and do text. And we're going to need to increase this text. So I'll just do something like 64, and I'll center it, alignment here. And let's just go ahead and make that much bigger. Just like so. And we'll change this number to 99. And I think that's still too small. So I want something much bigger, so maybe 120 or 140, something like that. And I'll change the color of the text if I can here to something like 99, something like white. And so we have that. So we have an image here, which I think I'm gonna make a little larger. And we have our text. So the idea here is when we come to this scene, we have the face of our player, or something representing our player. And then we can have, I don't know, like another image here. This image could be like some type of graphic between the two, right? Just a graphic. And then it basically just shows you what your health is now. So we can do that. And we can even go so far to say, all right, I'm gonna do a copy the text and I'll move this up. And we can do something like reduce this number to 120. Maybe not 120, maybe like 100. And we can, instead of this being a number, this would be like lives, right? Like remaining lives or something. Remaining lives. So of course we're gonna need that to be smaller. And we'll do something like 80 maybe, or even smaller than that. Maybe 60. Okay, cool. Remaining lives. Okay. All right, cool. So again, this is not really meant to be long-term. We're just setting everything up for that. Great. All right, cool. So now we're going to have this scene basically telling us how many remaining lives we have. All right, great. So what we're going to do now is in this panel, what I want to do is create a trigger. So I'm going to go ahead and go game creator, go to trigger. And this trigger is going to basically be on start. We're going to do an action. We can say on start. Let's see here. We can go actions and we can basically just say variable let's see, we can do variable and we can do get a number, and then we can go player lives, and we don't want to assign a number. So what we want to do is just get the player's lives. So instead of that, what we can do here is, let's see here, looks like I got this covering. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna hit this, go to actions, and we can just go variables, and then we can go, I don't want to assign it. I just want to get the number. Oh, I know it's exactly what I'm supposed to do. I need to get the text. So what I'm doing is UI change text. And then what we'll do is get the text. And then it's going to be this text here. And I should probably name this. So it's going to be number. So I'll just call it lives number. Lives number, and then what I'll do is go to my action and drag this into there. That's what that is for. And then of course we're just going to get the player lives number there. Cool. All right, so when this scene starts, this number should not be 99. So I'll go ahead and hit play. And it should play here. All right, great. So remaining lives 3. And that's great. So that's working out properly. So let us go hit save. And what I'll do is hit save project. And then what I'll do is go back into my world. I'm gonna go to levels, base. And what I want to do is now go back into our main scene. And let's see if that works the way that I think it should work. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit play here. And what we really just want to see is that number be the same and reduce each time we come into the scene, like a loop. All right, great. So player's live is at 3. Cool. A couple more times. So if the players died, we know our variable changed to 2. See? Remaining lives, 2. So that's great. That's what we want to see. And then after that, we go back into the scene, and now everything is at 2. Great. And so now, great. And so now we want to get beat up again. Great. Player died. And 1 remaining life. Great. And that's great. So now that this is the case, that's working out exactly the way that we were trying to get it to work. And so now we have 1 remaining life. All right, cool. Now, at first, what I was thinking was it'd be kind of cool is, say you go back to that screen and maybe you would want it to be 2, and then it shows it reduced to 1. That's something we could probably do. We would have to probably change where the life is being changed at. So instead of changing it on the player's actual death, we can change it when we get to that scene. So after a few seconds, that number could change. So I'm just going to do a test on that. Let's see if that actually would work. So instead, I'm going to go to the player. I'm going to go to prefab. I'm going to go to characters, player. Now, right now in our death here, we have that math expression. And that's the only thing that's actually basically dictating when we're going to die here. So instead, I'm going to remove this, and that's only temporarily. So we're just going to check to see if this works or if it feels good. So I'm going to take that off. I'm just going to get out of this. I'm going to hit save. Okay. And then so what I'm going to do is go back into the other menu scene. Okay. And I'm going to go to Players Live UI. All right. So here, what we want to probably think about is on start, it's going to display the lives. And then after a few seconds, I want it to then change that value. Okay. So in the actions, we have it wait 3 seconds. Okay. And then I want it to, let's see here. I want it to, let me take a look at the panel really quick. We have a trigger. All right. So we have our actions here. Change text to player lives. So instead, what I can do here is do a math expression. So I can go to variables, and then I'm going to do math, and I'm going to put the math above the change. So I'm going to say player lives here, and then I will go to here. Oops, did I delete that? Sorry about that. Variables, math, move that up. All right, great. And so now we have that. So I'm going to put a weight here, right? And so we have a weight here. All right. And so next, what I want to do is put it at maybe like, I don't know, like 1 second. And I'm going to move that between here. So I'll just do 2 seconds. And then it's going to change that whatever the number is, the current number to the new number. So let's just see what happens. I may not keep this. I may actually go back. So let me just see. All right. So we hit play. It's taking a little bit to load. And then after a couple seconds, it changes it to 3. So I'm not sure if that's working the way that I would want it to work. So let's see here. I think I'm just going to go back to the original idea, and we can play with that later. I think that'll be wise for now. It says unknown. That's probably why it didn't work. Let's see here. So again, we're going to have that. And it's going to reduce it. So technically, it should just reduce it by that. So for instance, if we copy this, put this here, we get the value as it is, right? We get the value first. Then we do a wait for like a second. And then it changes it right? And then it changes the value, and then it changes the text to that after, say, another second. And that's what I'm thinking. So let's check to see how that works. All right, so it's loading. So it should go 3 immediately. And then after a second, it went to 4. That's because my math wasn't set up properly, and that's okay. We had a plus symbol, but that worked properly. All right, great. And so I'm going to go ahead and save this, and let's just see this in action. And this may not be the best way to do it, but I definitely am going to see if it works out. So what I'll do is, I think I just saved it. So I'm going to go back into the world. I'm going to go back into levels. I'm going back into base. All right, so let's see how this plays out. So now instead of the player's health being reduced based on when he actually dies, which I kind of feel like that's the way it should be, but I'll see if this works, if this feels good. So hit play. And as soon as it loads up, all right, cool. So of course this number is already here because we have the number 3 of lives as his base number. So that's fine. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead into the battle here and go ahead and get beat up by our spider. And of course we have no UI really set here. And as soon as he dies, cool, so the players died. We have some cool animations and things happening. Cool, so remaining lives, boom, 2. And then it changes, and then it goes back, and then this number should be 2, and then so on and so forth. So I don't know what you guys think, but I think that feels okay. It kind of lets you know that, hey, your life is now lower now, so because of that. And so players died, something happens, we go to the scene, and then you have your life reduced. Cool. All right. So I think that works out pretty cool. I kind of like that. I've seen a couple platformers do it similar to that. So I think that may be a good way to approach it. But let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I'd love to hear your opinion on that. But that's it for this video. In our next video, I think we're going to take a look at how to increase this number based on how many lives you may gain in the scene. So maybe you'll pick up like his little floating head or something, and it'll add to his lives, right? All right, cool. So, all right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. To stay up to date on the latest 3D platforming tutorial, feel free to subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support, you can find me on Patreon, or of course you can hit me up on Discord. I like to talk about whatever project you guys are working on. Of course, thanks for hanging with me. Your support is always appreciated. As always, remember, never give up and keep moving forward. Peace.